Damone Roberts is here, everybody. I am so excited. Welcome to the Connected Caroline Show, Damone. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm glad to be here. Good to see you.
So great to see you. So for those of you who don't know about Damone, he is an international celebrity makeup artist, not artist, expert. He is a media company on his own. He has a beautiful product line and of beauty tools and accoutrement, and he is known as the Eyebrow King to all of us in the world. So, and I just saw him recently on Tamron Hall, so that's very exciting. But you do lots of TV, but that was fun. I was working and I heard your voice, and I'm like, it's Damone. I didn't even have to look.
I love that.
I know. So, what's going on? What's new with you, Damone?
Oh gosh, what isn't new? Everything's changed since COVID. I have always been someone that really prides myself on being centered and spiritually aligned, if you will. And I had this inner feeling that it was time to downsize my salon. I had a salon in New York City and a salon in Beverly Hills, and I had an intuition to downsize in December of 2019. And everyone told me that I was making a mistake and I shouldn't do it. But I listened to that inner voice, and to me, the inner voice is God, whatever that is for you, God. Mm-hmm. And I went ahead and did it anyway. And as we all know, the world changed 2 months later. And I'm so glad I listened to my inner voice, because there's no way we could have come through it if I didn't downsize prior to COVID.
Oh, for sure. So last we spoke, I had interviewed you right when COVID started, and you had downsized, and your motto, which I stole because I loved it, was over and next. And you actually, your intuition, your North Star said it's time to do something else. And the timing was amazing because it was just pre-COVID. I interviewed you after, but so I want to pick up, that was 2 years ago. It was over 2 years ago.
Amazing. 2 years ago, how fast time flies.
Unbelievable.
Amazing. But it's unbelievable. It really is. And look how much our worlds have changed since COVID, in so many ways.
It the world, the universe flipped the script for everybody, really.
That's a great way of putting it. It flipped the script.
Yep. So what's new in your world, and what are you excited about? I'll tell you, the podcast, my viewers and listeners really are about finding their North Star, following their passion.
Hey, I know exactly what you're saying. It's like just listening to that inner voice, and how do you know that it's the right inner voice, and how do you jump off the cliff and actually go towards your dreams or your goals, whatever that is for you personally. And for me, it's being connected to my higher source and being still and being quiet. And I wanted to downsize, and I made the decision to downsize. So now we've downsized. I have a small space in Beverly Hills called Damone Roberts Beauty Therapy Lounge. And it's just me and one artist versus me and 15 artists, which I've had prior. Mm-hmm. And I'm only in the salon a couple of days a week. And the other days I dedicate it to my products, because that brings me a lot of excitement and happiness. I'm an artist at my core. I get to create. And that was something that was really important to me. And I didn't have time to create because I was running around running these salons between New York and Beverly Hills for years and years and years. And I decided that I wasn't happy doing that anymore. And it wasn't about anyone else's happiness meter, but my own for this part of my journey, and I give to people every single day. I do up to 50 clients a day, and that's a lot of energy, because it's not just eyebrows and makeup. It's actually, I call it beauty therapy, because we're therapists. They lean back in our chair and they start spewing whatever is going on, positive or negative, to us. And, they don't realize that we're dealing with it every 15 minutes with a different person. And it's no fault of theirs, but at the same time, it does get exhausting. So I wanted to make sure that I spent some of the energy towards my own dreams and my own goals as I move into my over and next. Because I read a book by Norman Lear, the great television producer, and he has a chapter in there about over and next. And he says that you can't get to your next until you close your over. And I really believe that sometimes you have to really sit down and be still and listen to your inner guides again. And they tell you when things are over. And then once you step out of your over, you can walk with open arms into your next.
Perfectly said. So many of my guests are in their 50s, late 40s, 50s, 60s, and they are really doing a transformation of what was big careers, gigantic careers. I had Sherry Salata on, who is Oprah's executive producer.
I know Sherry, yeah.
Yeah, dream job, right? Her over next, I mean, she started a personal development media company that's extraordinary, and I'm involved with it, and I love it, and very inspiring. You know, everyone I have on my show is somebody that I've met in my life of doing PR or social cause work that has inspired me, like you. You've always inspired me because you just don't let the small shit bug you, and you really do the work. And I think that's what it's about. My tag is passion inspires profit of all kinds, not just monetary profit, but that's important too. Very important, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your products. I love your products. I try to demonify my eyebrows.
You always look great. You always look great, truly. I just want to thank you in front of your audience because you've supported me and my brand for so many years. I'm very involved. You know, it keeps growing, but I see who does the online orders. I see your name all the time ordering products. You come to the salon when you can. And you've just supported me for many years. So I just want to take time to publicly acknowledge it and say thank you. Because people don't realize it's your own business, it's a small business. And I tell my staff all the time, people have choices. You know, they don't have to come see us. Yes, I believe we're the best at what we do, but it doesn't mean they have to come see us. And like you said, it's not cheap, you know, it's about money. And I realize that we're a more expensive salon for what we do, but I think it's because we are the best at what we do and we can back it up. But again, I never take it for granted that you guys are there for us. And I just want to publicly thank you for that.
Oh God, I take that and I appreciate that so much, Damone, because one of the things that has always like impressed me and inspired me is that yes, you work on Oprah and Christina Aguilera and J-Lo and Robert Downey Jr. and every single Trisha. What's your BFF?
Taraji.
Oh my God, I love you and her. You two are like brother and sister, the two of you. I love that.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time together.
You know, you work on all these mega celebrities. However, you also work on people like me, you know, and that's what this podcast is about, is showing people that really, I think one of your successes is that everybody is valuable to you. And never did you ever fall into that trap where you were picking, you know, J-Lo's eyebrows over my scheduled time. You just don't do that.
I know, because it's a human right. You know, everyone deserves respect. And I love that my salon, I remember one time I looked in the front of the waiting area and I saw a lady who just happened to be on Forbes, #1 on Forbes list of the richest women in America. And she was waiting for her appointment to see me. And then next to her, I saw a girl that my staff told me had saved up for 8 months to come see me. And they were sitting on the bench next to each other, you know, complete opposites financially, clearly, had no idea about the other's background situation as I did, but I realized that they had the same common denominator, and that's that they wanted to bring forth the best version of who they were. And it made me feel so excited that they both were there for me to help bring that out to them. And I tell my staff, you know, yeah, Beyonce comes in, but so does Caroline. You know what I mean? And it's like they're paying the same amount of money, and it's both their birthrights, and they both are human beings. We're going to take the ones in order for their appointments, and no one gets preferred treatment. And I really make that clear because I think that it's important that we have those kind of boundaries within ourselves, because I think it really reflects on who we are as a people. I do.
For sure.
Yes, I do. And to answer your question about the products, which is, we got all off of that in the first place. But my whole thing is that I've been a makeup artist for 20 plus years. And as a makeup artist, you always use a lot of products. And I just discovered that a lot of products weren't filling my needs as a professional makeup artist. They would either fade throughout the day as we were working on sets or on tours and whatnot, or they would turn waxy and rolly, and foundations didn't match the skin properly. All these different things. A lot of my blonde girls, we buy a blonde pencil and it would turn orange. A lot of my women of color, we buy a brown pencil and it would turn gray. I mean, just things didn't work. So I went into the lab and developed them myself. And we came up with a great line. Like you said, we have a line of brow accoutrements, and they're sold on Amazon. They're sold on DamoneRoberts.com. And we have about 50 retail partners globally so far. And it's my happy space. I love going into the lab, putting on the shower cap and the white coat and sitting with all these men and say, no, it's too much titanium dioxide. Let's cut that and add a little bit more of this to do this. And it's a learning experience, but I really, really enjoy it. It's my happy space.
Well, you're really an alchemist on every level. You're a human
Thank you.
alchemist. Obviously, you just described how you have two people with, completely opposite ends of the spectrum financially, yet they are together as what, completely, it doesn't matter what their background is financially.
Yeah.
You've brought them together for this, what I consider a happy place too, is getting my brows done by you. And that's what everybody feels for sure. So now you're a chemist and make these great products. I love your products.
Thank you.
I really do. And I do order them all the time, and I get them for everybody. So
I see your name on those mailing slips in the warehouse all the time, and I always just smile. It makes me so happy.
I wondered if you if you kept track of that.
Oh, believe me, I see everything.
I know you are. That is you.
But that's an interesting point too for your audience, is that everyone, like you said, 40s, 50s, 60s, we're all in that same age bracket, and we're all looking for our next and that northern star. And I think that when you find something that's really important to you, you have to oversee it. You don't have to micromanage. There's a difference between micromanaging and overseeing. But I think that it's still your name, it's your brand. You got to make sure that things are being done. You want to see who's supporting you. You want to see who isn't. You want to see, you want to make sure that they're packaging things correctly, that the website is being done correctly, that things are staying current. I opened my business almost 20 years ago, and the industry's changed so much, because when I opened my business, there was only me and maybe one other person that were known for brows. And now you can even go through an airport without a brow salon. I mean, I see commercials for Maybelline and Revlon and all these different things that are very commercial for brow products. And that didn't exist 20 years ago, not to mention social media. So I think as a business owner, you have to always adapt to what's going on around you so you can stay current and remain a name and still get TV coverage like Tamron and supported people like yourself, 20 plus years later. It's because we've remained relevant to what's going on around us.
Yeah, you've always been really conscientious of that and understand. I mean, we are, like you said, it's a small business, it's you, it's your person, it's your brand.
Absolutely.
You take such pride in it, and it shows. Do you think that well, let's talk a little bit about where you come from. We both come from the East Bay, up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Were you brought up to have these kind of values, or these things that you have, like evolved into?
Yeah. My mom and dad are great parents. They always, my mother especially. My dad was working more so than my mom. And my mother was always home. And my mother just always taught us about human kindness. I think that's something that's missing with a lot of parents with their children. They teach them about their ABCs and everything else, but kindness is really, really big. There's that scene in The Help when I think it's Viola Davis is talking to the young girl, and she says, be patient, be kind. I'm paraphrasing here, but something to that effect. And I think it's so important, because I think a lot of people don't teach kindness, and kindness is something that it makes everyone's day a little bit easier. I just by simply smiling to someone and respecting people. I think that is, again, your birthright to be respected. And my mother and father were really big on that. And that made a big difference for me and my little brother growing up. So I owe it to them. That's
great. I can relate to that. I think that I find, and this is something I tell my boys, it's compassion that's missing too. kindness and compassion.
Big time, big time.
I mean, because you just never know what the other person's going through. And the one thing that COVID has started to like sort of teach people is that, you know, everybody responded to COVID differently, and the, you know, anxiety and depression and all these things have gone skyrocketed. And I do think that there is a little more compassion for our humankind, for one another, as a result. But that is a word that I use a lot with my kids. Is an important thing to understand and you know, do it unto others as you would do unto yourself. I mean, or something,
Absolutely.
you know, right? I have another client. It's the Blaze It Forward community that was created after the murder of Blaze Bernstein, and it's all 100% this community, Blaze It Forward, about kindness. And everything that's posted in this Facebook group of 30,000 plus is just stories that are inspirational, uplifting, beautiful, and kind, showing
I'd love to see it. I would like to find more information about that.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
I will send that to you for sure.
Yeah, so, we need some positive stories in our timelines these days.
Well, I know, you know, that showed some good news was really, you know, that John Krasinski started during COVID. Actually, we laughed because we're like, Blaze It Forward was first. We've been doing the same thing. But the point is like, it really made an impact on people. They loved seeing funny, happy stories, you know, on his web.
Of course, absolutely.
Great. So
that's important.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about all the glamour and glitz. Who was the last person you made up or did brows? One, and two, what's the last like event or award show or something fab that you were invited to, you know, to do somebody's
Oh
brows?
gosh, you know, it's so it sounds so funny. It's when I first went to LA 20 plus years ago, I remember I would be so excited if I recognized someone or saw someone out and about or whatnot. And it's so amazing now because everyone has become friends from, you know, doing this as long as I've done it. And I get confused as to, you know, I talk about someone casually, then I realize that I'm talking about them and they're a celebrity to other people and they don't see it as casual as I do. So it's always kind of makes me chuckle. Before I sat down, I just came back from doing Christina Aguilera. So we were together as of an hour ago, literally.
Cool.
And event-wise, oh gosh, I've done a lot, but I'll tell you what I just RSVP'd to. I'm going to Judy Garland's 100th birthday party that's being thrown by her daughter, Liza Minnelli and Lorna Luft. Now, obviously, Judy Garland is no longer with us, but they're celebrating her 100th birthday. And Liza sends you an invitation. You don't turn it down.
Oh my God.
I'm looking so forward to that. I really am. I'm looking so forward to that.
Is it at a private home? Is it at a big event?
I think it's at a theater. I think she's hosting it at a theater.
Oh my
I have to look
God.
at the invitation. I'm not sure. But how fun is that going to be, right? I'm on Judy Garland.
What are you going to wear?
It's like, wow. I know. It's like I get to wear sequins. Where else can you wear my sequins to? So I'm so excited about that.
Ain't that the truth? That is another thing that COVID, like there's just no fancy dress anymore.
None at all.
Right?
None.
I was like, oh my God, my fund charity, you know, formal dresses are all the very, very back of my my closet. My opera cape hasn't seen the light of day in years.
I think you should just wear it around the house, an opera cape. That in itself
it's so amazing. It was like custom made for me by a designer in New York. It is to die for.
What color is it?
It's black. Like,
oh, how fantastic. I love stuff like that.
You would love it. I love it. I did wear it for Halloween one year. It was a great part of my costume, but it's, you know, it's very lightweight and it
just flows.
Fabulous.
Right?
Yes.
I can't wait to see it. Maybe I'll borrow it for Judy's party.
You know, oh my God, it would totally work.
It would.
I need to come up there. When is this party? Is it the summer? Is it soon?
A couple of weeks, like 2 weeks.
All right, maybe we'll like hook up and all.
Maybe, how fun.
So great. You have a whole closet full of, you have to get.
I love clothes. I love fashion. I love beauty and fashion since I was a child has always intrigued me.
Me too.
Always. I remember being a little kid and seeing Diana Ross on the screen and just going to my mother and going, "Who is that?" Because it was so I couldn't take it. The hair, the sequins, the furs, the fabulousness. It was just too much for a little boy.
I get it. I get it. I too was impressed by all that. In fact, I did go to college for textiles and marketing, and I just said
I never knew that.
2
That's
days ago,
fascinating.
my two favorite classes in all of college were history of costume
Wow.
and entrepreneurship. And I originally went to New York to be in the fashion industry and ended up in beauty. So, you know, I did PR for
Fascinating.
Clinique.
Wow, I remember
But
that.
I love that like glamorous fashion. Oh, because I love material. That's the textile. I love
Yeah,
beautiful materials and feathers and
all the above.
shiny,
All the
shiny
above.
things.
Yeah, all the above.
So
Shiny
great.
things.
So are you going to be expanding your product line at all? Or is it-
Yeah, I plan on expanding. You know, we have everything for eyebrows now, from the pencils to the gels to tweezers to brushes for eyebrows. Everything you can imagine for eyebrows we have currently. And my whole thing, our company slogan is because every face deserves a perfect frame, which is, you know, the frame of the brows. But now I want to go into the canvas, which would be more so the skin and foundations. And then eventually I want to go to the paint, which would be the eyeshadows and the blushes and things of that nature, bronzers. So yeah, my goal eventually is to do a full, complete Damone Roberts makeup line. Absolutely.
Super
But
cool.
see, again, there's always been thought behind everything that I've been doing.
Oh, I know. I know. And you don't just jump at the first, you really, really ruminate, not ruminate in a bad way. You really think
No, absolutely.
you wait and wait. So I would ask you.
I would argue that it isn't a bad way, because sometimes I take a little longer than they want me to do. But I realized again, and this is for your audience too, it's like, it's not about them, it's about me. And it's about my brand and what I've learned throughout the years, because before I would just expedite the process to keep everyone happy. And then if it didn't work out, everyone else will move on, but it's still my name. So now I really ruminate and marinate and anything I need to do before I make my final decision, because ultimately I've learned throughout my personal journey that it's what works best for me with my company.
So you know, I love that lesson of really knowing yourself and doing for yourself and having integrity with yourself is extremely
it's so important, Caroline.
important. I mean,
It's
you
so
talk about
important.
integrity in your life around topic around other people, but really for yourself, it starts with you first, and be true to yourself. I love me most. That's something that came out of the Sherry Salata workshop was I love me most. I love me first. So
Yeah,
start with me, and then everybody else wins if I'm like in my good space. And
that's important. You know, I think that we're taught to be people pleasers in general, you know?
yeah,
And I think that you know, again, you want to please people, but what about pleasing yourself?
right.
You're the one that has to lay your head down at night with yourself, and you need to be okay with who you are and the decisions you made. I started off as an artist. I'm still an artist at my core. I knew nothing about business, nothing. I cannot tell you how many times I've fallen flat on my face. But I have something within me that forces me to continuously get back up. And I get back up and I get back up. And sometimes it may take me a little longer than it did prior to get back up. But I realized that that's okay as well, because ultimately it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. It just matters that you eventually get there. And that comes with wisdom and I think age as well. You know,
I was going to say that too. That just comes with age.
It gets greater later. It does get greater later.
Because when you're younger, you just beat yourself up, and instead of really appreciating pacing. I mean, pacing life is really like pacing things. And to your point of when you're in business and you've got other people that are expecting things out of you and things, and there's something inside you that's going, God, you know, just not ready to deliver that, or that isn't right. I need more time. And God forbid you ask for more time. Well, guess what? Ask for more time.
And guess what?
It's going to be better for everybody.
Yeah, and I like that, pacing life. I never heard it put that way. That's the chapter in your book, Pacing Life. That's
Pacing
really,
life.
really beautifully said, because it's so simple, but it says so much. I'm going to steal that one from you.
Steal it, because I've been
You
using
can
over
steal my
next.
over next, I'll still pacing life. Because I love that. I really do.
Oh, I'm glad. So I would love to talk to you all day long, but we'll wrap up with one thing that you mentioned, and I would love my listeners and viewers to get a little tutorial from Damone Roberts, and that is explain how important the eyebrow is and for framing the face and what it essentially can do if you have your brows, done right and in good
Correctly.
shape.
Eyebrows are literally the single most important underestimated feature on the face. They add balance and structure. They frame everything. I tell my women and men, by the way, that men, for example, they groom the hair on their faces daily, but they ignore the hair above their eyes. It's like, why would you ignore the hair above your eyes? Doesn't mean they have to be dramatic and done, but at least trim them, keep them groomed. 2 eyebrows are better than one, straight across. With my women, eyebrows, they can literally take 10 years off a person's face. It's just so funny because I used to do a TV show called 10 Years Younger for a few of you that don't know, I'm out there. And that was the main thing I would do is I would shape their eyebrows and I would instantly take a decade off their appearance. Fuller eyebrows do look more youthful. It's a fact. Whenever I do seminars, I bring up images of Snow White and the evil witch and everyone else. And you'll notice that Snow White has the really full eyebrows and the evil witch has the really thin eyebrows. Our Cinderella has the full eyebrows and the sisters have the really thin eyebrows. They do that for a reason because thin eyebrows make you look a lot more severe, mean, and stern. And fuller eyebrows make you look a lot more softer and more youthful, if you will. Even if you have the right eyebrow shape, you don't need makeup and you still look done. You still look groomed. You still have that there. And it adds such a focus because, with COVID, for example, all you see is everything above the eyes, right? And it's just the eyebrows. And I tell my clients all the time that, our eyebrow appointments are 15 minutes. Average client comes in every 4-6 weeks at the most. Take 15 minutes for yourself and get your frames for your eyes, get them groomed because it does make a difference. And for those people that are saying that my eyebrows don't grow back, there's items out there that make your eyebrows grow back. We have something called Brow Gain, which is our #1 seller. It expedites the growth process. There's tricks. Everyone jumps on these quick bandwagons, like there's microblading, there's brow lamination, there's all these different things that are coming out. And some of those things are okay, but I have more people that sit in my chair crying because they jumped on that bandwagon quickly and they're so unhappy with the results. And like, for example, microblading is a tattoo. You literally have a tattoo on your face. And if you're not happy with it, guess what? It's too late. It's too bad. You have a tattoo.
I didn't know that. I didn't know microblading was tattooing the same thing.
It's tattooed hair strokes. And I recommend people not necessarily jumping on that bandwagon first because our faces change. We go up and down in weight. We get older, which is a beautiful thing. All these different things that we go through in life, and you can't alter the shape accordingly. We can always give you a little bit more arch if your eye starts to sag a little bit more, or anything else. But if it's a tattoo, there's nothing I can do. And tattoos also change colors. So I'm not saying don't do it, but think about it before you do it. God forbid you've been through cancer or something, you have no eyebrow hair. That's a totally different story. But if you're just jumping on it because it's the latest trend, you might want to think twice about those things. So yeah, I would say to your audience, eyebrows are literally the single most important, underestimated feature on the face. Do not neglect them, period. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more. It's true. I love it. It's true. Well, Damone, thank you so much for coming on again. I just love talking to you. I love seeing you. I love your energy and your zest, and you are a wise man. And Therapy Lounge. Everybody, now you understand why it's called the Damone Roberts Therapy Lounge.
Thank you. And I enjoy talking to you. It's so comfortable. It's like a warm bath.
Oh, I agree. Good. I agree. That's how we felt the minute, like when we were first introduced. We just
absolutely
kindred spirits for sure. So I will come see you up there in Beverly Hills very soon because I do miss my trip. Really, I would make a trip just so I can hang out with you for 15 minutes. and go have
I
lunch.
appreciate
You know,
that.
it's
I
like,
really do.
that is the best self-care, is going to Damone Roberts and having him do your eyebrows. So check it out. All the information will be in the information boxes below, and DamoneRoberts.com, right? That's where they can find
That's
your
correct.
product.
Yeah.
Okay, so check out his product line. It's wonderful. And Damone, you have a lovely day, and it's just
too.
a delight.
Thank you,
I love you
Caroline.
very
And love
much.
to you and the boys.
Thank
For
you
sure. And I'll
so
see
much.
you soon.
Yes,
All
have fun with Liza.
Liza with the Z.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, darling. Good
Okay,
to see you.
bye, honey.
now.
Take care. Bye-bye. Until next time, this is Caroline with Connected Caroline. Make it a giving day.